Welcome back in to the Dynasty Happy Hour. It is my voice you're hearing. Doug is off again. I think, I just think he might not never come back, right, James? I mean,
Well, I sure hope not, man, because you suck at hosting, man.
I do. I am ungood. I am ungood at
Ungood.
this. But you know what? What is good is it's good to be back. And that is always a good thing. It's good to get back into it. It's the off season. I mean, we quote unquote talk about the off season, once week 17 hits, we're like, "Oh, it's not really the off season until the Super Bowl ends." And then we get into it. The combine's coming. We're going to talk rookies. Then we got our rookie drafts in about the first week of May. I know, James, you and I are in a league where we do the rookie draft early. I mean,
Ugh.
that's a topic of conversation. I love it because it is definitely a game. Like you're taking risk. There's reward. You get major players at the end of the rounds. But that is where it becomes fun. And this is where you need to start listening to us, and we will start letting you guys know what we think of these rookies coming in. But first, we are going to talk about the quarterback landscape. We're going to go through a couple pods before the combine. We're going to go over the landscape of each position and talk about it. And this week it's going to be quarterbacks. And without Doug, he can't talk about his quarterback. Sorry, Doug.
Thank
Not
God,
sorry.
man. Enough about Mac Jones already.
Right? Oh, we get it. You're a Patriots fan. Oh.
Whoa.
But first, I want to talk to you guys about Manscaped. But you know what? I'm not going to talk to you about it because James has a special story for you all.
All right, so it's Super Bowl weekend. I'm getting ready for the game. I got a nice thing of spaghetti and meatballs of gravy on the stove cooking. So I'm like, oh, let me go take a shower, get all nice for the wife. Um, the grandma was watching the kids, so I was good to go. I was good to go. So I did my big thing, but I went upstairs into my bathroom and my Manscaped trimmer was not plugged in. And it was dead after not for from being neglected for the past 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, maybe four. Maybe let's be honest,
We
it was
don't need to
four.
go in the detail. But
All right, so we don't need to go in. So I dig around in my old junk drawer of a bathroom drawer, and I find my old trimmer, and I'm like looking at it, and I feel the sweat trickling off my face as I try to use this thing the way I use Manscaped, and guess what,
it's
Tyler?
gas powered. It's
I
old.
had to pull the cord, and hopefully it started. It
I
started
think
with
you
a
used the weed
choke.
whacker.
Big puff of smoke came out, and sure enough, I cut myself. Where I'd rather not say live on the air, but it was like a bloody Sunday. It was a bloody massacre, and I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? And I'm like, so I had the conversation with the wife. I said, you know what? Can you just leave the Manscaped trimmer plugged in? My balls will thank you for that.
Yes, and you know what? Don't run into this situation. Buy two if you need to. And
Yeah,
also,
that might be the best way to do it.
they have an amazing beard trimmer. Like I said last time, I'm looking to get one. I trim my beard probably once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks. But you know what? You got to stay sharp. You got to stay smooth, and that is for men and women because this product is for you. And with 20% off using code DHH, there's nothing better. Once again, code DHH for 20% off when you check out. Trust me, your balls will thank you.
Oh yeah.
Let's get right into the news. I mean, James, I'll just say, hey, it's good to see you again.
Good to see you too, pal.
The Super Bowl was great.
Yeah,
It
it's
was a
been a
great
while.
game.
2 weeks, right?
Yeah, it's been 2 weeks. It was the second Super Bowl where I kind of stopped watching the third quarter. Last time it was the Atlanta game where I thought it was done.
So you jinxed it. That's what happened?
We drove home. We went to Super Bowl party. We drove home and came back, and it was tied. I was like, what the hell is happening? Like, I had no idea it was going to be tied. It was a great game. It was fun to watch. It was going to suck either way for one of the teams to lose. I mean, there's going to be an unhappy fan base, and it happened to be Philadelphia, and we don't want to keep them unhappy. So that was rough.
It was great. My neighbor is an Eagles fan, diehard Eagles fan. The Eagle flag flies out front of his house. 8:30 in the morning, he's screaming, chanting "Go Eagles," doing the Eagles fan song, fight song at the bus stop while he's waiting to get his grandkids on the bus. And I'm like, oh man, if they lose, the neighborhood's going to be quiet. It was great. It was great. No, it was a great game. I was actually rooting for the Eagles to win the game. I think they deserve to win more, but the offensive line stood up for Kansas City.
Yeah.
Won't have to get into too much detail. We know who won the game and how it happened towards the end. But no, I'm glad to be back. It was a nice break, and I'm ready to get into it, man.
Yeah, and getting right into the news, let's talk about the Eagles, the former coordinators for the Eagles. Both of them move on to coaching jobs. The offensive coordinator, Gannon, I think his name. No,
Yes, Gannon.
Gannon. He, no, Shane Steichen, the former Eagles OC, is the head coach for the
Correct.
Colts.
Yes.
Gannon is the defensive coordinator, and he went to the Cardinals. So
Yep.
Cardinals go defense, which me personally, I think is a very smart move because then the OC can just strictly focus on keeping that little baby Kyler happy.
Oh, we're going to get into that a little bit.
And I think that's a great thing because that defense, I think, underplays because they have a lot of talent on that defense. They just underplay completely. And Shane Steichen, it'll be interesting to see what they do at quarterback, but we will get into those quarterbacks, like I said at the beginning, very soon. I think that is a good hire, too. Thank God it wasn't Jeff Saturday. I thought for a second, a very quick second, it was going to actually be Saturday.
Oh,
Coaching
it
on
almost
Sundays.
was.
Yeah,
And now I hear that
guarantee.
he was like joining him on Twitter or whatever it was on social media, like ha ha
Oh,
to Jeff
man.
Saturday. Yeah,
Yeah, that,
already it starts.
yeah. Oh, man. That the world is better when the Colts are good. So I really hope they really hit this draft pick because if the Colts have a good quarterback, I feel like the league is fun.
I agree. I don't think that and not to get too deep into it, but I don't think they're not going to go for a quarterback at their draft position. But I mean, they're not going to be good this year.
Yeah,
And
that's
that's
true.
going to be important as well.
That is very true, and hopefully Sykin can fix that offensive line and all the problems they have. But going back into it, the Cardinals also hire Browns quarterback coach Drew Petzing as offensive coordinator. I know he was a very hot coordinator people were going for, so that was a good get for them. And Eagles linebacker coach Nick Rawlis as defensive coordinator. Knows the system, which is awesome because, like I said, I think the Arizona defense could play a lot better, and I think they are switching from a 3-4 to a 4-3 now, which could help their pieces.
The one thing that brings this up as a major thing is none of these coaches have been offensive or defensive coordinators before.
Yeah.
So
And
this is
so
going to be really interesting. It's like a science experiment
yeah, and
in the desert.
honestly, I'm sick of the retread. Let's get some new faces in there. Let's get some
Yeah.
more opportunity.
Speaking of new
And
faces,
speaking of
Hoo-hoo-hoo.
faces going to different places, the Commanders get Eric Bieniemy. Awesome. I mean, we're going to talk about their quarterback situation, but he also had a
can't wait.
comment. Eric Bieniemy, I think he made the right choice. People were kind of like, why would he switch? It's because he wasn't getting the recognition with Andy Reid calling plays. So
100%.
Bieniemy needed to prove himself. And going to the Commanders, I think, is a great opportunity. I mean, you look at what they have at quarterback Sam Howell. They have some great pieces at receiver. He could really do something with this offense, and I'm all for the pieces. I mean, Jahan Dotson to the moon. What do you think about that Eric Bieniemy switch?
Oh, I love the Bieniemy switch. I can't wait to see what happens. They've already started to mold the offense into something, and I think Sam Howell is going to be the start of it. The fact that they kept him on the bench for his full first rookie season just says a lot, But like, hey, we're not waiting. We're waiting for you. Sorry, we are waiting for you to get a grasp of the system. It's not going to be our year. We know this. And then they go out and hire Eric Bieniemy and give him pretty much full reign of the offense, which is going to be amazing.
Yeah, that'll be fun to see. The Chiefs plan to hire quarterback coach Matt Nagy as offensive coordinator. Now, people will laugh, but he does very well in this role. If you look back, he is a better offensive coordinator than he is a head coach.
As long as he's not calling plays, he's fine.
100%. And you know what? Pat Mahomes loves Nagy. I mean, you listen to his episode on the Kelsey's New Heights podcast, and Mahomes talks about how much he loves Nagy and how these quarterbacks like these coaches, and we may hate them, but it doesn't really matter because Andy Reid's calling plays. So that is that's kind of just a neutral. Now let's go into the actual player news. Now the first news is Aaron Jones for the Packers. He restructured a deal for 2023. He was originally stated to earn 20 million in 2023, and
They were going to cut him.
Yeah, he will now earn 11 million. Now, me personally, I don't think the other Aaron is back. I
No.
100% don't think that's.
I agree.
Because there's news where the Packers, he's in his dark retreat. He's probably out trying to get his eyes all better. But Aaron Rodgers, when he's in this darkness retreat, the Packers came out and said they're ready to move on to Jordan Love. Now, we'll talk about Jordan Love later because I love Love. and
Love, 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 love,
and
love, love,
so yeah, Aaron Jones won't have Aaron Rodgers, but like I said, I don't think that's a big deal because I don't think Aaron Rodgers was great anyways. But we will see.
It was interesting when I read this news and I put it in the show sheet. I did a little background. I wanted to see where Aaron Jones was, and actually, this year was his highest receiving year with 59 receptions. So this does say a lot. If Aaron Rodgers doesn't come back, I don't know. And like, we're going to have this conversation in a little bit, but I'm not sure how much I value Aaron Jones compared to last season.
The thing, is he's 28. You're not paying much for him anyways because nobody wants a 28-year-old running back.
Oh, no, I get the restructure. I get that.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about in Dynasty. Like, Dynasty-wise, like his value is fantastic. Nobody wants Aaron Jones, but he's a great 1 year or 2 year piece that will actually help you win because he's going to be involved. I mean, you're paying him $11 million a year. He's going to be involved, and he restructured. So, yeah, I honestly think that he will be productive, and he's a great piece to get during the draft time if you're a contender and you're like, you know what, I'll deal with it. I know he's gonna probably just fade on my roster, so screw it. Let's trade a second for him. Let's get the championship.
If it's a second, sure.
Oh yeah, and I don't think you're getting a first for Aaron Jones anymore. That has passed.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of things that has passed, and those are championships. Championships are past, but you know what isn't past? Your chance to go upgrade your league completely at Trophy Smack. Trophy Smack is honestly the best place to go get your trophy. And when you code DHH ring, you get hold on, you get a free ring. But I'm confused because I remember hearing, oh yeah, that's right. You get double the discount. So there is a 15% discount at checkout right now, I think until the end of February. If you use code DHH ring, you get the ring. You get like a 15% off. And you get a trophy, which is the best thing you need to get. There's also decals you can get for the wall. You know what you do? You slap on these magnetic things onto your wall, and you can just swap these posters out. They're not really
I like
posters.
that idea.
It's like a picture. And then say, like
get this handsome guy on a picture.
Like we at my house, we have photos and drawings that we switch out, like winter ones, Halloween ones, like pumpkins. We swap them out. You know what? We reuse the nail. That's nice. But you know what? You don't need to use the nail. Use these magnetic things that are already perfect. They're already set up perfect. They're interchangeable. Go out and go get one of those. Go get yourself a grill. Go get yourself a belt. Just go get yourself everything. And when you do, use code DHH ring and get that free ring as well. Because you know what? I have one sitting on my desk right here. I look at it all the time. I just cleaned it. It's beautiful. It with the case, the little turf at the bottom. It's wonderful, and it reminds you that you are a champion. And also the belts, fantastic. Chef, you've got a custom belt. Yes. I would love a custom belt because you know what? They're awesome. You can just slap every championship you've won on this belt if you want to customize it just for yourself.
Oh yeah, that's the best way to do it. Do it for yourself.
Do it for yourself because there's nothing.
Do it for your league, or let the league do it for you.
Yeah, code DHH ring. Get yourself a free ring and some change off because of the February deal, and yeah, you will be happy with it. So, James, I want to get right into the topic, and that is the quarterback landscape in Dynasty. Now, we are going to use DLF ADP. We use their ADP all the time. It is always updated. It's a fantastic site. We also talk about Dynasty Nerds, another fantastic site, which you can get a discount on by use code DHH for 15% off at Dynasty Nerds. Film rooms, you can't go wrong with the film room. I'm going to go dig deeper into that very soon. but we are using DLF ADP. Let's go into what seems out of place in the ADP. Now, give me a couple things that when you're looking at the ADP, what do you see that's kind of like, I don't think so.
A couple of things. Number one, like I don't know if I would put Jameis Winston as low as he is.
So you think he's starting?
I think he's going to find a home somewhere. Yes.
I sure hope so. He deserves it. He was wronged, like big time last year. And he even the best part is he came out and said, "I got benched from an injury." That he came out and said it, and it's true. Like he would have started if he was never hurt, but the fact that he got injured and Andy Dalton was quote unquote safe, even though that defense sucked. Like that defense was not great in a bad division, and yet you're going to play the safest quarterback in the league probably. Like, yeah, he threw like 4 picks in a game, which was ugly, but he's safe usually. Jameis, he actually gives you a chance to win a game because he's a gunslinger. He likes to throw the ball and he makes an offensive move. I didn't get it. I agree with it. I mean, at quarterback 34 at pick 163 overall, yeah, I love that. Jameis is definitely
I'll
good
scoop
look.
up that late round value.
Oh yeah. I'm looking around. We'll talk a little bit about Tua, Justin Fields, Joe Burrow at quarterback 3.
Now I have Hurts over Burrow
Because the running aspect.
because of the rushing upside. Yes, and not just that. I mean, he scored more fantasy points on a average game basis. So I'm down for that. I mean, I love the big splash plays with Joe Burrow, but moving forward with the possible rumors of Higgins leaving that offense, it kind of takes Joe Burrow down to number 4 for me.
Yeah. Mine would have to be Trevor Lawrence is way too low at quarterback 8. He's pretty much pick 9. So quarterback 8, he is behind Fields, Lamar Jackson, Herbert, Jalen Hurts, Joe. I would actually have him right behind Herbert for me personally. I'd rather have him over Lamar Jackson, who I do worry about all the changes in the offense. The injuries are starting to really ramp up with him.
Hey, hush bet. All right, don't ruin my take.
I really enjoy watching Lamar Jackson play, but
well, I mean, we can use this. We can utilize this because you sparked it on him, and I know we're going to get into some buys and sells. Lamar is my sell, and I'll just put it out there right now. He's very well known rushing quarterback, MVP notoriety, working on a contract. So I'm selling him now with the news that he's this high up on this board. I don't think he ever sees Dynasty top 3 ever again. So I'm seeing deals come out of there with like 2 early firsts for Lamar Jackson. I would love that. I mean, not the 101, but maybe the 102 and the 104. I'd be happy.
For me, give me a rookie quarterback this draft class, Russell Wilson, and a 24 first.
How about Trey Lance and a 20 and a top 23 first?
As much as I love Trey Lance, I don't think I'd do that. I love Trey Lance. I really hope that the coaching staff gives him every opportunity, which I do think will happen. He is quarterback 13. I thought about putting him in as my buy. He is, though, at the overall pick 25, which is still very early for a guy who hasn't really played much. I mean, we don't know anything. I mean, you think back and look at let me pick another player. Jared Goff, who was outstanding. He's quarterback 18 at pick 54.
Another one of my guys.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Kenny Pickett, he's quarterback 15 at pick 40. And we both like Kenny Pickett as a value right now. Deshaun Watson.
I think that one screams out to me. Like, why is he still so inside the top 12? And that stands out.
He's 15 overall for pick. He's quarterback 12. So he's a top,
and
top
shocker, Kirk Cousins is like outside the top 12 when he's only been in a top 12 quarterback for the past 3 years.
His accuracy, I was looking at some stats today, and his accuracy was top 5. Like, he's a very accurate quarterback. He's got Justin Jefferson. The issue is the unknown after this year. It's his last year in Minnesota. Do they bring him back? Now, for me personally, I think Minnesota will probably retain him, and he will probably have a cheaper contract.
Yeah.
So I do like that. I do want to talk about a couple guys. So I'm gonna leave them. We'll talk about them. They are my buys, but there's some very screaming values in this the ADP. But now let's talk about where would these 23 rookies be placed in these ADP. Now let's go first.
All
Bryce
right.
Young.
First and foremost, do we both have Bryce Young as our QB1 of this class? Can
I'm
we
not
agree on
sure.
this
I
yet?
have not dug too deep into it. I really like Bryce Young. I think he is safe.
Mhm.
And what he did in Alabama, you can't really turn your head at, even though he's very small, but he's very good. And it's all based off of what, like, if Houston were to draft him, what do they give him? Do they bring back Laramie Tunsil to protect that blind side? What do they do? Like that, for me, that is what I want to know. So there's a lot of questions with this quarterback class. They're all different. They are literally all different. There's
Oh,
one.
very much so. There's no two alike.
Oh my God. And I love that because last year we had a lot of the same vanilla loaf of bread. This year it's like you're getting like cinnamon toast bread.
Crunch?
Yeah, I'm talking
Oh,
breads or
I'm a cereal fan.
You get like banana bread, pumpkin bread. Like you got tons of different styles of breads. Like we are going way off topic on this bread, but
Yeah.
it is
I'm
true though.
toast.
There's some good. No, I mean, there's gonna be at least two of these guys that become toast, burnt toast.
I think at least, yeah, I would say two of them, possibly.
Yeah, it's
Maybe
usually a 50%
one is
hit
usually
rate.
guaranteed.
Yeah, it's usually a 50% hit rate for each class. So in the first round, let's go into Bryce Young. Let's just go Bryce Young. Where would you place him in the ADPs right now?
In the ADP, I'd probably put him around the Desmond Ritter level. I mean,
Wow,
wherever
that
he,
low.
yeah, that low. First and foremost, we don't know if they're going to start right out of the gate. Yes, he may very well may be capable of doing that, but you may be looking at a high investment for a player that's going to be sitting on the bench for at least a portion of his rookie season, and that sometimes is good for the quarterback and the future. But when I spend high draft capital, I'm hoping that it's an automatic starter out of the gate. I'm gonna put him, yeah, like right around the Desmond Ritter, Sam Howell area. Rookie, right? They're green.
I
Even the best quarterbacks coming out of college take time.
so I
And
value
I'm not gonna put them
quarterbacks.
up way too high without being proven on the NFL field yet.
So I value rookie quarterbacks very highly. If you hit on them, they are worth their weight in gold. So for me, Bryce Young, I would have him right next to Trey Lance. That's where I would put him because they're
Right
both.
above Kirk Cousins. Kirk
Yep.
Cousins. Yeah.
Kirk Cousins will be about 30. Was he going to be? 36? Kirk Cousins. So
35. Yeah.
he's very old, and once
He's very old.
once they drop off, I mean
He's
they
Tom
drop
Brady
off.
old.
Bryce Young, he is very young. He's 21. He's or 22. Like this is an opportunity to get a stud. Now, if I'm drafting, this is where you're gonna have to draft him in a startup. You're gonna have to draft him in the second, third round. That's where these rookie quarterbacks are gonna go. So for me, I'm gonna have him right next to Trey Lance. They're both very unproven. And for me, the pedigree that Bryce Young has had since he started has been nuts. Like he's been heralded as the next one. He's short. He's gonna be. That's the question everybody wants to know is the combine. What is he gonna weigh in at? I think he will weigh in at about 200, which is what Kyler weighed in at. For
That's
me,
a scary thought. Don't ruin it for me.
He's not like Kyler. Like he does
No, he's
not
not.
play like Kyler. He's
No,
very accurate.
He stays more in the pocket than Kyler.
Now, for me, with those short quarterbacks, I heard, you hear the comments of Sean Payton. He's going with Russ Wilson, and he worked with Drew Brees. These short quarterbacks, I need bigger hands. I need 9+ hands. Like, you may
not
laugh.
like Kenny Pickett.
You may laugh. Like Kenny Pickett, he's 6'3", 6'2", 6'3", so he's a
with
bigger
very
dude.
small hands.
He's a bigger dude.
I
But
wonder if
you're-
Bryce
you're
Young has
5
worked on stretching out his hand,
Maybe, but like
doing
for
those
me-
exercises.
Well, Joe Burrow
like
has
Kenny
9
Pickett
inch
was doing
hands.
last
Like,
season.
Joe Burrow has like 9-inch hands on the dot. That's what and everybody's worried about it. And I mean, we can't really put that in the factor. Like we saw Kenny Pickett work with the gloves. Hey, it worked. For me, it's all for like if you're under 6 foot and you have under 9-inch hands, you're off my board. Like that's how it's gonna be. But if you have 9-inch hands plus, like I'm not gonna change anything. So for me, Bryce Young, it's gonna be based off of how short is he? Is he 5'10", 5'11"? And how much does he weigh? Is he 190? Is he 185? Like we have never seen a quarterback at like 185. So this is going to be interesting. His process is going to be very interesting, but I do think he should be around Trey Lance. We'll get more into Bryce Young as the process goes, but let's go into CJ Stroud and talk about where he would land on this list.
I mean, CJ Stroud, I have him like my 2A, 2B. I'm not sure where I want to put him yet. I feel like there may be, I'm a big Anthony Richardson fan. But CJ Stroud, I'm like I said, like I'm not putting these guys up above players that I know are going to be having a starting job. And where's CJ Stroud going to go? Indianapolis, most likely.
Bryce and Stroud are either going Houston, Indy,
Houston
or
and Indy.
Carolina.
Yeah, or Carolina. Okay, so, or Atlanta for that matter. Um,
Atlanta. I mean, the Raiders could be involved.
I mean
There could
the
be a
Raiders.
trade
Yeah,
up.
later on, I think maybe Will Levis or Anthony Richardson wind up going to the Raiders.
They had the 7th pick, so they picked before Carolina.
But I think it all matters where they land. It's going to say a lot. Like pre combine, pre NFL draft, I would put them in the Jordan Love situation, like right around that area, QB 33, QB 34. And I know the best time to grab a young quarterback, especially in a startup, is the beginning. Just grab them and go with it, like take a shot. But if I'm building a dynasty, I am taking one of those top quarterbacks first, and then hopefully something else later falls to me.
Yeah, Stroud for me will be right next to Kenny Pickett at about quarterback 15,
Okay.
quarterback 14, 15. I probably might have him ahead of Kenny Pickett because Kenny Pickett is now 35 years old or so.
Yeah, he
But
turned 34 over December.
okay, yeah. So we were right on. Yeah, for me, that's where Stroud would be placed. And like I said, I haven't dug too deep into the quarterback class. But let's go into Will Levis, the big time gunslinger, the big outlier that I think will be of this class. He could be great or he could just be so bad.
Yeah.
Where would you have him here?
I would have him right next to Malik Willis because that is
Oh,
like the
okay.
same thing. He could be great and he could be really, really bad. So that's around QB 30, say maybe the 9th, 10th round of your startups. Like I'm not reaching for Will Levis.
Okay, I would have him right next to Mac Jones. I'd probably have Mac Jones ahead of him. Quarterback 22 is where I'd probably place Will Levis for me at the moment. Let's go into your guy, Anthony Richardson. I think all of us are going to be fans of Anthony Richardson. He is a guy that is going to be very polarizing this draft class. Cannon of an arm. Guy can throw it like Josh Allen. Guy runs like Justin Fields. And his accuracy is like Justin Fields, which we'll get into. But he, I think, hasn't reached his full potential. And he's so young still where he has room to grow. So
Yeah, and you nailed it when you said just like Justin Fields. Justin Fields, as we know, especially at the beginning of this past season, was pretty reckless in the open field. And I can see that easily translating to Anthony Richardson as soon as he gets on the NFL field.
he's
He
bigger than
runs like
Fields, which is scary.
he doesn't care. He just doesn't care. But he does have a lot of arm talent, and I heard that he can read the defenses pretty well. So I'm okay with putting him in like the QB, like the inside the top 24.
Okay, I would have him actually right next to. Thinking about it right now, I'd probably have him right next to Trey Lance. Like he'd be up there with Bryce Young, Trey Lance,
Fair enough.
and
I mean,
Stroud.
Tom Brady's still on this list. I could
That's
slot out
true.
Tom Brady and put Anthony Richardson in there right around that Brock Purdy level, I think, with a chance of big time production just sitting there and hibernating.
So yeah, as you guys can hear, James and I have a very distinct difference of our quarterback thoughts. Rookies coming in, he doesn't value as much. He wants to see proven assets. And for me, I'm going to take the swing. I'm going to take the chance, and sometimes it misses, sometimes you hit. Last year, like I said, the draft we had before the actual NFL draft, I took Malik Willis 101, and that
How'd that
stung.
work out?
It did not work out well, but that's the fun of it. Like it did for me. It was fun. Like I also got
And I
some
took Sam
values.
Howell in the third.
I got Ken Walker with the sixth pick. Like there's
Yeah.
there's tons and tons of values in that style, but that is the difference. Like you got to know you got to know your people in your league. You got to know how they play, because if you have a pick 3, do you go Jahmyr Gibbs? Do you go a quarterback? What do you do? Because say you have like the 6th pick, and you're like, okay, this league is very quarterback heavy, like I am. That's a chance for you to scoop up value at running back, or you take a quarterback, or you trade out knowing they're going to take a quarterback. Like
I think anywhere, if you have like, speaking really rookie drafts and pre NFL draft rookie drafts, like I'm okay with any of the 105, the 101 to the 106 is okay. I may look to trade out after that, and just whoever wants the pick, go ahead and go for it. I mean, that's what I've seen out of this class so far. I really hit big. Most of my teams, most of my dynasty leagues, I hit big on the wide receivers last year.
yeah,
We knew it was a wide receiver year. And yes, there may be a couple that are going to break out. There are always at least one that shows what they have, but I'm not really in the wide receiver market this year. I am not really in the running back market. I hit on Kenneth Walker all over the place. I'm still looking to sell some shares now of Damian Pierce that I have. Like those are the things that I can turn into other assets for my team. So if I'm not getting a quarterback or Bijan Robinson or maybe even Jahmyr Gibbs, I'm okay with Jahmyr Gibbs in the top 5 or 6. I'm not really focusing on the rookie draft this year,
for
unfortunately.
for me, once it hits pick 11, it's a drop off. Like
Yeah,
that's
big time.
where I've seen. I was in a trade. I got Justin Jefferson from our good friend Memphis. We made a trade. He was really hoping to get 110 from me. I had 110 and 111, and I said I'm not doing it unless I have pick 10 in my pocket still. Like I don't want to get that was a huge difference for me. Like it was a complete value switch whenever he would put in the 110. I'm like, yeah, no. Like when he had 111 in, we finally figured it out. I was like, okay, I can deal with that, because that gives me the opportunity to go get the tight end Michael Mayer or Anthony Richardson at the end of the first. So that is what I think of it. Quentin Johnson is probably the 11th player in that draft class where I'm like, no.
I'm still trying to see where I can work in the tight ends, the rookie tight ends. I haven't gotten there yet, so I'm excited to get into it.
I have not gone into all of them. Michael Mayer is I'm a fan
I'm pretty
of him
much done with
because
quarterbacks, though. I watched 5,
I
6,
see
and then I'm like, okay, that's enough.
I see a lot of Notre Dame games throughout the year, so I love Michael Mayer.
Oh, speaking of Notre Dame, remember Jack Cohn? I think we saw him play at the XFL today.
Did I actually
Yeah.
I didn't watch any XFL this weekend, but was it better? That's what I want to say.
No, it's the same, man.
It's the same. See, nothing
I
compares
mean, it
with
looked
the
like
NFL.
real football.
Okay, like as long as they're
They threw a
trying
football.
and they stick
They
with
ran a
it.
football.
And they stick with it. I hope they do, because usually it's one and done, or 2 years and then it's done. Like stick with it a little bit, see what happens. But let's get into who we are buying at ADP. James, I will give you the floor for your first buy.
My first buy, it was Jared Goff, and we mentioned him earlier. Dynasty QB 18. I think he's still a little bit too low. Startup ADP is probably in around the 5th round. And right now he's a solid value. All right. Would you rather have the 108 or Jared Goff?
Once again, team need, but if I
Team
do need
need.
a quarterback, 100% Jared Goff.
Yeah. I mean, he was QB 20, and he's gained solid progression in this offense. It doesn't seem like they're building around him, but they are building to his strengths.
They don't need a
QB 20.
quarterback.
What?
They don't need a quarterback. They
They
need
don't.
they
They
need
have
everything on defense. Their offense is set. Like
their
they
offensive line, and this is the one I liked because I started looking at the team improved the offensive line. Their sack percentage went down since 2021 from 6.6% to 3.8%, which is around 35 to 20 down to 23 sacks, over a season, which is huge. And it really opened up the field. And now with Hawkinson out, it seems like Goff is having to throw the ball more down the field. We see Amon-Ra St. Brown get really active. We saw DJ Shark start to spark this year. And we have Jameson Williams coming up through the ranks, who really started to show things with the one or two games that he actually caught the ball. It was a one catch and done, but you saw the potential. And we know that they are not a run first team. Swift out of the backfield is going to be dumped down city. It's been like that. They lost with Hawkinson, but when Hawkinson left, Goff was still QB8 from week 8 on. So they didn't really lose a step. I think Jared Goff at least stays in this area of a low end QB1. And I think QB18 is just way too low. I'm going to go out there, and if I have say the 107 or the 108, I'm going to trade for Jared Goff if I need a quarterback.
See, my issue with it is if Carson Wentz went to Indy, or the first trade when he went to Indy, right?
He did, yes.
What if he had this type of season? His value would be skyrocketing. It'd be all over the place.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's apples to apples, because Wentz went from a bad situation to a bad situation. But Goff did the same thing. He went into a bad situation and had a terrible 2021 season. But you see the progression from year to year.
Wentz was bad before he went to Indy. Like
Carson Wentz was bad before he left the Eagles.
But if he went to Indy and he played well, like if he had put up the same numbers Jared Goff did, people would be drooling over him. But Jared Goff goes, he did this once already in LA. He comes to Detroit, has a bad year. Second year, blows up in the system.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
you think it's just going to disappear again like he did?
No, I don't.
Before?
I'm saying, like, people are undervaluing because of the name, because it's Jared Goff. Like, if it was Carson Wentz and he had this type of, uptick, his value would be through the roof. It would be
I think Wentz is going to be like, when they say your name is Mud, they're just going to say your name is Wentz.
I agree, but like I'm just saying, like it's unfair how we value Goff just based off of who he is.
But that's what I'm doing here, and I'm glad that the people undervalue him, because that's why he is a massive buy right now.
Yeah, Doug and I got him for pretty much a equivalent of 2/3 or so in a league, middle of the season, just because he was rebuilding. And Goff helped us win. Like, Goff helped us win the championship. And he's 28. He'll be 29. He's going into another year with the same offensive coordinator, same weapons. People love him there. Amazing offensive line that is paid. Like, that's the best thing about Goff. He's like a $25 million a year quarterback. So they can spend elsewhere. They don't need to dump all this money in the quarterback.
They're going to pay him. He's not going to get a lot, but they're going to pay him, and he's going to take it.
I love it. He, to me, is what we're all hoping Daniel Jones kind of turns into. Like the stability at quarterback for that franchise, where you don't have to pay him too much. But rumors are Daniel Jones might make a little more than we thought.
Just at least for this year. I mean, the what's it called? The free agent, the tender, the quarterback, the free agent tender, or whatever it is.
Tag?
Yeah, that's it. Franchise tag.
There it is.
Sorry.
I'm going to get
32 million.
buys.
32 million of the franchise tag.
I'm going to get right into my buy, and that is aforementioned Jordan Love. I still love Jordan Love. Rumors are they're moving on from Aaron Rodgers. We already talked about that. He's still only 24 years old. He turns 25 in November. Get this. Will Levis turns 24 in July. Will Levis turns 24 in July. Kenny Pickett
about Will Levis.
is older by 4 months. Older than Jordan Love. Like, if we're going to talk about age with Jordan Love, like, oh, he sat for 3 years. Perfect. You know what the Packers have done in the past? They sit their quarterbacks. Brett Favre sat for Atlanta and then got traded to Green Bay and then became great. Aaron Rodgers sat for 3 or 4 years and then became great. And you know what? Right when they drafted Jordan Love and we all knew he was going to sit, I made the joke to some friends and I said, here Green Bay is doing the same thing over and over as the Vikings always struggle to find these quarterbacks through the draft, and they just, get the retread type of quarterback like
Kellen Mond.
Yeah, well, not Kellen Mond, like Donovan McNabb and Randall Cunningham. So like
Oh,
Randall
okay.
Cunningham worked, but like they always did the retread, like Brett Favre in the past. But Jordan Love for me, I absolutely love it. And right now, if I can give a mid second, I'm doing it all day. If I even have to reach for a early second, I'm doing it.
I mean, that means you're like all in on Jordan Love
Oh,
in the
I've been all in
situation.
for a while.
I mean, and you're willing to spend a almost early second to make sure you're right, which is crazy in that sense. I mean, I may be looking to get out of that situation when you go to the high second round
high
for
second
Jordan.
is nothing.
I don't know if I could do that. I really don't. I didn't like what I saw with Jordan Love on the field. The offense was
Didn't you
all
go
over the
like eight
place.
for nine in for Aaron Rodgers?
I mean, 8 for 9. Yeah, maybe.
So let's rewind and go back to the combine. Herbert and Jordan Love were the two players that threw in the combine, and scouts said they are perfect mechanically. It's what you want in a quarterback mechanically. For Jordan Love, it was between the ears. They can work with that. They can try to figure it out. And yeah, his first time when we saw him, he had some accuracy problems and he was dumping it off. But now, as he's learned behind Aaron Rodgers, and I've learned that Aaron Rodgers has been willing to help him out and learn. I really love it. I love the fact that he sat. It sucks for my dynasty rosters because I had to sit on those shares, but you know what? It will. I think it will pan out. Me personally, I think he's going to be a fine high end quarterback too
I
in
mean,
this
his
Packers
hand
offense.
size was perfect.
His hand size was perfect. He's a perfect size quarterback,
He's got a
and
nice size 10 and a
he's
halves.
he's got
He's got
a
some mitts, this guy.
he's also got a ability to run, so that is an undervalue for him. What's your second buy?
My second buy was Jarrett Stidham, believe it or not. On the cheap, Jarrett Stidham, because you took the good ones. But
If my issue is if you have somebody come up to me and be like, "I'll take a second for him," just based off of his end of season, I just want to like
I mean,
those owners. You just want to, you know,
I mean,
take the glove off and
you could
slap him with the
probably
glove.
get him for a 20. I saw a trade for a 2023 fourth for Stidham straight up. So like that, if I can get him for a 2023 fourth, I'm all about it because the odds of a 2023 fourth or even a third for that matter coming to fruition is iffy, and it looks like he's going to be the at least bridge quarterback in that McDaniel system. He
Until
knows
they
the
bring in Aaron
system.
Rodgers.
Hey, anything could happen. All
Yeah.
right. I think Aaron Rodgers would have to walk and retire. Yeah.
What do
Right.
you mean?
Isn't it the same predicament that we were in last year? Like Aaron Rodgers either retires or he plays in Green Bay because he's under contract in Green Bay.
No, I mean there's a Green Bay already said, they're willing to trade him. And the
Oh,
issue
all of a
was
sudden
Green Bay wasn't willing to trade him. Like
last year.
that's kind of the rumors. I get more of the feeling than last year that he is gone. He will be on a different team. He will get traded.
I mean, you could see him, and just going off of what we see right now, I think Jarrett Stidham could be a nice little cheap buy that you could see as a bridge quarterback. Like we talked about, Vegas, they have a higher pick in the draft. They have 107. Recent mock drafts saying that they are like from PFF, ESPN, all the analysts, they're going offensive line. They need to build that offensive lineup. So if they're doing that in the first round, they're not going quarterback in the first round. It would look like they would be one of those guys that go back in, buy back in to like an Anthony Richardson later in the draft, possibly. Um, but I think he did something. He showed a little bit. 28 fantasy points, week 17. He was QB3. If he could do that, I'm okay. Just someone extra on your bench, especially in super flex leagues in particular. But like he's a guy that I may just consider as a cheap trade just to get some offseason
That's
action
fair.
going.
That's
Yeah.
that's fair. Like just a cheap.
Well, you
I
picked the good ones. I
I would
saw the
say
two that you had, and one of them was definitely mine.
I would stay away from him for sure because I do think they make a move at quarterback if it's Jameis or if it's Aaron Rodgers. Sam Howell is my other buy, and at
Definitely.
quarterback 29, pick 133 at ADP. is nuts. Like
Yeah,
if you
it's
can get
ridiculous.
a starting quarterback, which we all had, like there's times where we had him at quarterback one. He was the number one quarterback in December going into his senior college year. Like we forget about that. Sam Howell was a dominant force at North Carolina. He just had a bad year. And then he goes into the combine and I don't think he did anything to hurt himself. But then
No,
falls in the draft. First pick, fifth round. I still was, I was like, what the hell's going on? What is wrong with Sam Howell?
I
What?
think he had a little off the field trouble.
But that was just rumors. Like I heard
Yeah.
nothing. I heard it was nothing. I
I
heard
think
it.
Washington actually just made out in the deal and he
Oh,
just
100%.
fell.
100%. And when they traded up in that fifth round, I think everybody knew it was like, oh, it's Howell. Like the fall was way too far.
Yeah.
And every single draft expert has said they're like, I don't know what happened, but it was absurd that he fell beyond that. Like he should have been where Malik Willis was in the third, possibly even where Ritter was in the early third.
Mhm.
So for me, Howell, he's still only 22. He ended the season as a starter, and he beat Dallas. Like I get Dallas may have not played the starters. It was the last week of the season,
It
but
was
he
a
went
preseason game.
11 for 19, 169 yards, nice. One touchdown, one interception. But the thing that Sam Howell can do is he can beat you with his legs. He got 5 for 35 and a touchdown. He's sneaky.
He's
But
sneaky, especially around the goal line, and that's what he
yes,
did in North Carolina. And he has a strong arm, a very, very
very.
deep arm. Who was
What
the
is what does Bieniemy like to do with Pat Mahomes?
fling the ball deep,
Yeah,
just chuck it
and
up.
who does he have? So we all
Terry
think
McLaurin, Jahan Dotson,
the thing is Jahan Dotson, and don't
Curtis
forget that
Samuel,
Diami Brown
Diami
was
Brown
a
from North Carolina.
down the field throw. Like they had a major connection.
Yes,
The thing is with how like Jahan Dotson, people are like, oh, he was a touchdown catcher. You know what he did in Penn State? He was a down the field threat. That was his specialty at Penn State. He goes into the Commanders and becomes kind of a possession guy that catches touchdowns. Like he still has that in his back pocket where he can run down the field. This offense could be very sneaky depending on how their offensive line gets put together. Coach Bieniemy said he's still likely the starter. He did say likely, and I would use that as a chance to get him a little cheaper. I'll just throw it in. Maybe throw in the article in the
he
trade.
may not. He may not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And he's
but he
another
is.
player. He's another player because he's a quarterback in a super flex league because we're talking super flex. I'd give an early second for because if you can hit on these quarterbacks, it is a major get. And for me, Jordan Love and Sam Howell are right there on the buy list, and early second is nothing for me
I
to
think
give
the
for
secret is kind of out, and I would go as far as like an early second and maybe throw in a third. I'll be okay with a
Oh yeah,
second and a third for Sam Howell. I mean, we all got him in the 5th round last year in rookie drafts, but
yeah. Fifth,
yeah,
fifth round, fourth round. I know Doug got scooped up all the Howell he could, and yeah, he's for me. If he plays very well this season, he could be what we all wish Davis Mills would have turned out to be at the beginning of
he's going to
last
be
season.
everything that Zach Wilson was supposed to be
I
and
think
more
he's going to be everything we expected Baker Mayfield to be because they are very similar
in
in their
looks,
play. It
in their
looks
face.
their play style is
They're
insanely
cousins.
similar. You know what Baker likes to do? If nothing's there, he just goes straight forward, finds a hole, and gets 5 to 10 yards. That's what Howell is so good at.
That's why I
And
got it. I think he was chipped up going into the combine or whatever.
it could have been. Maybe he had a history. Who knows? Only the government knows. The information probably got shot down with that Chinese balloon and these UFOs that are happening.
Which one? Jesus.
Yeah, exactly.
What's going on in this world?
Who knows? Now let's get into your next buy. No,
Uh,
your sell.
Yeah, it was a sell. And I already talked about one of my guys was Lamar Jackson. And I'm gonna sell on Lamar Jackson. Or wait, did I talk about no, I talked about Kyler Murray already. My
You talked
apologies.
about both pretty much. You did go into depth about Lamar, but let's get into depth about Kyler.
Yeah, so it's both of it's this rushing quarterback that started the rushing quarterback kind of movement with a lot more rushing than throwing. And usually I would say, yeah, that's Lamar and not so much Kyler Murray, but that's how Kyler Murray came into the league. He was known for his sneaky speed, especially around the goal line, but they never let him run into the goal line. And I think with this air raid offense now gone, I think you just took away the other part of Kyler Murray's game that he was good at. throwing the ball, quick downfield passes. Their offense was terrible. Arizona's offense was 30th in the league in production. Like,
Not
that
great,
was
bud.
bad. And I understand that, he tore his ACL. He's in week 14, but before week 14, he did great, which is a good selling point. Saying, "Oh yeah, he finished 8 or better out of 10 games, and he played in the top as a top 12 quarterback." So I get why people still like Kyler, but there's rumors of DeAndre Hopkins leaving. There's a change in the front office, starting from the new head coach, Gannon, to the QB coach, offensive coordinator, Drew Petzing. Petzing. But I'm just off of Kyler. I've never really been on him. But I think his value, just like Lamar Jackson, is on a downswing. And I'm trying to offload him before it goes any further down the road.
Yeah, and your quarterback's on the downswing. Mine is on the major uphill on the roller coaster. Like you hear the clicking, click, 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 and he is heading right up that roller coaster right before the drop happens. I don't think it's going to be a crazy drop, but I am nervous and scared, just like I do on roller coasters. Yeah, when you're hitting that hill and you look over on the side and you see just a drop, that's what I'm feeling with Justin Fields. Who is my sell? Quarterback 7 with an ADP of 7. He is a mid first round pick in startups. That's right. Mid first round pick.
It's too high.
He went 192 for a 3 out of 318, 2,242 yards, and 17 and 11 touchdown the interception ratio. The thing that definitely boosted his fantasy, and we're talking rushing quarterbacks a lot tonight. 160 attempts, 1,143 yards, and he had 8 touchdowns total there. Issue is 16 fumbles and injured every single time he touched the field.
Yes, that was the bigger part.
He got hit, and it was just like, oh God, what now? Like, Jesus, like this guy's gonna get hurt. Like
he was putting the team on his back, and I don't think, unless they go out crazy this year and give him a million weapons in the offseason, he's going to wind up getting injured again. And what really hurts, and it kind of throws all 3 of these quarterbacks together.
Hey, what are you doing? This is my cell. Nope. I'm talking about this.
Wait, I was making a good point here. Between Fields, Lamar Jackson, and Kyler Murray is what we don't have is a lot of pocket passing, like Jalen Hurts, like Patrick Mahomes, like Josh Allen, that they have the rushing upside, but they don't really have the passing option.
Yeah, the odd part is give me Kyler and Lamar passing-wise if I were to take one of those quarterbacks, because they've proven they can actually throw the ball. Fields, we had worries about his rookie year, and this year it didn't get better. Like, he had a 60.4 completion rate, which isn't bad per se, but it's not great. Because you know why? Russell Wilson, who we're all poo-pooing, how we're like, oh, he had a terrible year, had a 0.1% better. He had a 60.5 completion rate. Now, if we were to put Russell Wilson's name on Justin Fields, because of the rushing, we'd be like, oh, okay, Russell Wilson's fine. But since Russell Wilson didn't have that, he's ungood. Russell Wilson's bad. We should not buy him. He's the worst.
Well, I mean, the rushing upside gives you the fantasy.
That's true, yeah. But without that, like, say teams key in because now they have a year of tape and all that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that could be a problem. We saw that with Lamar Jackson. Like, Lamar Jackson at MVP.
We saw it with Cam Newton.
And Jalen Hurts, it was, we all were like, oh, God, what's going to happen year 2? And he actually learned how to throw the ball. It helps when you have A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith playing out of their mind. But Justin Fields does not have that.
No, Fields does not have that at all. No.
So for me, Fields is definitely a sell. He had less interceptions than Mahomes, another big-name quarterbacks. But they also threw for like 20, 30, or 40 touchdowns. Fields has 17. Which is,
and Mahomes threw for over 4,000 yards. Like
4,000 yards plus.
You really can't compare the two. And the fact that his ADP is so high, like you mentioned.
He had some major injuries due to his running. He had an AC joint separation week 11. Hip strain at the end of the season, which I thought was way worse. There was a part of me I thought, okay, Tua had a hip thing that we thought possibly could take him out forever.
Yep.
And Fields, I think, his bigger frame helps out a little bit with these injuries. But it's not better. Like definitely sucks. He would often leave the field limping, out of breath, or just in pain in general because he's getting smoked. Now the thing with me with Lamar is shifty. He knows how to kind of get away from a big hit. Fields takes these hits, all of it, and that he needs a change. He needs to start sliding, run out of bounds a little more. He has major fantasy upside, yes, but with ADP is 7, next to other big names, like give me Trevor Lawrence straight up for Fields. I would 100% get out on that high note. I do hope Fields pans out because I think he is a great fantasy player. I do hope they give him weapons. I don't have faith they do. So for me, that is a sell. And my other sell, just real quick, Tua, quarterback 11 with an ADP of 15, and this is only due to his concussions. I mean, Brandon Cooks had a bunch of concussions. We thought his career could be over soon, and nothing has happened since. Now, Tua, I think he's a concussion or even one or two away from
He's
just
one
being
hit
done.
away from
Yeah.
just being off the field for a major amount of time, and he was
Yeah.
having he had such a bright future this season. Oh my God, it kills me
Yeah.
that I agree with you on this list because I could have sold like people were trying to sell to it to me at the end of the season, like, oh yeah, but that was like, dude, come on, really? With all these
Yeah.
injuries, with all
Multiple
these
first.
concussions,
Yeah.
yeah, like I got offers for Trey Lance, for Tua, and they're like, oh, you have Tyreek Hill. Why wouldn't you want to? I'm like, um, did you not see what happened on the
Yeah.
field?
And he just got out of concussion protocol right
Uh,
at the end of the season. Like, it might have been like a week ago. He just got out of the concussion protocol.
He didn't
So,
go to the Pro Bowl because of the concussion
and
protocol. So
and
yeah,
he commented saying he's happy he stayed in it for so long. And I got newsflash, like it wasn't his choice. He was
yeah,
in it because of concussion symptoms. So it took months for him to get out of there. So yeah, for me, I'm out of there with his ADP. You got anything else about these quarterbacks before we get out of here?
no, I think we hit enough. I guess
Speaking of
you're it's.
hitting, did you hit something
Oh
on underdog?
yeah, I hit big time on underdog, man. Super Bowl Sunday, they had these big games going on. It was 4-team, 4-round drafts on underdog, and guess what? Your boy Chef hit $400 worth, cashed that puppy out. But the fact is, Tyler, that they still have baseball, they have NBA, golf, hockey, and they already have the 2023 NFL Big Board startups, best ball starting up already. And Underdog is the best way to play daily fantasy sports. If you use our code right now, DHH, they will match up to $100. Jump in there right now. First deposit, $100, you get $100 free. And then you can just start playing best ball all over the place. Underdog, best place for best ball and daily fantasy. Check it out today.
Yes, and once again, go ahead and check us out today on iTunes and go ahead and leave a review. We love seeing those new reviews, seeing what you think of the show, positive or negative. We like constructive criticism because it always helps us get better.
We love the negative.
We've been in this for so long. It's coming on year 7, I think, in May. So
I know I've been here for 2 years.
Yes, you have. This will be your second year. Doug's been here for, I think, 4 or 5, and I started this about 7 years ago very soon. It has been a fantastic ride, and I can't wait to help you guys smoke your rookie drafts. And James and Doug and I will be here throughout the season to help you with that. It's going to be a fun one. It's going to be interesting. I'm excited.
Next week, running back landscape.
Running back landscape is going to be a good one because if there's one year where it has been kind of flipped over, it is this year. The running backs have definitely changed. So tune in next week. After you listen to here, go to iTunes, leave a review. Just even click the star. It doesn't matter. It helps us either way with the algorithm or whatever. And also go ahead and like and subscribe on YouTube, which also helps us. And thanks to our sponsors. We will talk to you guys next week. Doug will be back. Thank you for Doug being back because I'm out of here in the host seat. I'm out here in the host seat. James is happy I'm out here, but it has been fun. And yeah, see you guys next week.
Later.